The night of the flood, I went to work when it started raining and pouring, and the situation, I was in the area of Chestnut and Henderson, that area there, looking for, we were just told to drive around if anybody looked distressed, needed help, to pick them up, get them in their trucks, and take them to the Elks. I believe it's at 18th and Warren, and or Central, 18th Central, or to the Civic Center. I fortunately didn't have anybody that was in real dire stress and needs. My reason why I went to that area was, asked for it, was because my wife's grandmother lived there in a basement apartment. So I went there to make sure she was okay. Her whole apartment was, chest deep in water, but she'd made it to safety to the neighbors up above. Like Chestnut and Henderson, they were running water about thigh high on a person, fast, like the Thompson Canyon River there, Big Thompson Canyon River. My night was fairly uneventful, but some of the other guys had a lot different situations. Especially the south side, I think, probably had the biggest flooding part because of water coming off the railroad yards. Really sent the highest water there. It was probably waist to chest deep through that part of the town at the highest top point. The center part of town, I would say, between Pershing and Lincoln Way, Evans East, probably had the biggest hail damage, the most hail. And it seems to always happen whenever it hails in Cheyenne. That catches the worst part of it for some reason. But after the flooding, carried the water to those low-lying areas, it was 6, 8, 10 feet of hail in some of those low-lying areas like 16th and Carbon. It was places like that all down through that area, Converse. Pretty devastating to those property owners, homeowners. After the storm was over, the next day or so, when we got organized, it was a lot of hard, heavy work because people were asked to carry all their stuff out of their house, their couches, refrigerators, deep freezes, TVs, anything that was ranked, especially like sheetrock. When they were starting to remodel a house, they had to throw that on the curb line, and we came around and picked it up with our front end loaders. So a lot of this stuff had to be physically loaded into the loader bucket so we could dump it in trucks and haul it to the landfill. So that was, I remember, was it the day after one of those days, the Qantas, like they do the pancake feed during Frontier Days, they fed all of us at the west parking lot at the municipal building, and they lined us all up and gave us tetanus shots the same time frame. So handling all this nasty stuff was going to, protect us if we got a cut on our finger or stuff like that. So I don't remember how many days it went on or weeks, but it was not a pleasant job because the stuff was wet and stinky, and the deep freezes, the spoiled food and stuff like that was quite an experience, I guess. Just the hail and the water running fast, and hail and how cold the water was, and then the hail floating, and then seeing it after the water finally went down, that the 10 feet of hail at 16th and Carbon was just unbelievable. Like seeing Holiday Park, just one whole lake, and then almost by noon the next day it was gone. The storm system had finally let it drain away when all that went down, but. I didn't experience personally, but I know the guy said that these big tandem axle dump trucks of ours, these 10-yard trucks that we was able to get around in, they were pushing water up to their headlights on Lincoln Way in front of the Wrangler, for example. Some of our guys that worked the south side picked up probably the most people and took them to the Elks, and we actually made such a wave big enough that it broke the windows out of a business, and of course the city was liable for that because of the truck turning around and making a wave. But just that much water in your inner part of your city just kind of, it's unbelievable. You just wouldn't think that had ever happened. The whole town was affected by it. The tornado just cut a swath through town, but the tornado affected almost every living being in town. So it's quite a thing to witness. Of all the things, the many years I've been here, the things I've saw, the tornado, the flood, and then some very serious snowstorms. It's hard to compare them all. Everything's a little different, but yes, the flood did affect the entire town. It seemed like weeks or months. We had some other towns come in and help for the first week. I can't remember they were. I know Rollins, I think, was here, Laramie, with some sewer jets and stuff like that, and some towns sent, maybe Fort Collins might have sent some dump trucks to help us for a while, but after the week was gone, and it was pretty well left up to city employees. And each block, one house would get their stuff out, but then a week later they'd get their stuff out, so it was